All right, I'm going to first talk about how I want you to transition from using this SQL Fiddle website that you used last week to using this Oracle liveSQL website this week. So I preferred to have you guys use SQL Fiddle because it doesn't require you to create an account, but it's ending up that this website is just not working well all the time. There's too many times I'm coming in here and trying to do things, and it's just having some sort of problems. So something's going on in their server. Or I don't know what it is, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and go away from that and go to this other website called Oracle liveSQL, which is a much more robust website. It's made by Oracle, so they support this. The only thing is you have to create an account, which is not that big a deal, but anyway. So I'll go ahead. I've discussed this a little bit, or showed you this a little bit in a previous video, but I'll go into a little more detail here. So to use this site, just go to Oracle livesql.oracle.com, or you can just Google Oracle liveSQL and get here, however you want to get here. Once you get to this page, click Start Coding Now, and you'll get to the page where you will eventually log in, but the first time you have to go in and actually create an account. So click Create an Account, and that will bring you to a page like you've filled out a million times where you put in a bunch of information. Click Create an Account. So that should get you your account so that the next time you come back in, you can log in. Once you do that, you will log in and see a page that looks like this. And this SQL worksheet is where you can actually type in SQL statements and click Run. This schema is where you can actually see the tables you've created, what the columns are, what type of data are in those columns, and that type of thing. So those are the two things we'll kind of focus on now. For now, there's nothing in here, so nothing has happened. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create the database that you're going to be using in the practice problems this week. So I posted this link here in the middle of the week that says download SQL statements you'll need for the practice problems. The next link down is the link for the practice problems where you can go get that information. But first you need to get these SQL statements that will actually create all the tables, because you're not going to write all the create table statements. You're just going to download some, and it's going to run them, and it's going to create all the tables you're going to need for practicing your SQL queries. So if you click this, it will download this file. And if you open that file in Notepad or whatever you prefer to open it in your particular computer, go ahead and just open Notepad. These are all of the create table statements. And I showed you this very briefly in class the other day, but you can see there are a lot of tables. And all of these tables have various constraints like not null and primary keys and things like that. And then if you scroll down far enough, you'll see there are also, so there's all the tables being created, and then there are all these SQL insert statements that are actually inserting data into those tables. So the idea here, again, is that you don't have to write all this yourself for now. We're just getting you set up. All of these statements will put in a bunch of information, like this person in the employee table, Chuck coordinator and Mary manager, and so on and so forth. So these will insert a bunch of values into those tables. So you just need to copy this and paste it into that Oracle liveSQL to run it. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this by just selecting all of it, however you want to highlight everything, and saying copy, right click and copy, or do Control C, however you do that. And I'm going to come back to my Oracle liveSQL. I'm right up here and go ahead and paste that in here. So all of the SQL is now ready to be run. And by the way, I'll point this out while we're here. The semicolons here, we haven't explicitly discussed this, but basically you can run a bunch of SQL statements in a row. You can execute all of them. You just write one SQL statement like this one, this create table one, and then put a semicolon, and then write another one and put a semicolon. So the semicolons just separate the statements, and when you click run, all of these statements will be run one after the other. So that's what's going to happen when I click run. And it will process, and it gives you a bunch of feedback saying, you've got a bunch of tables created, and then if we scroll down, it's showing all of these rows, messages that basically just say a bunch of rows were inserted, which makes sense because we have all of these insert statements that are inserting things into the rows. So we got a bunch of them. So after I've done that, if I want to see that I actually created some things, I can click on this schema button here. And now I can see that I have a bunch of tables. And if I want to click on any particular table, I can see information about that table. So there we go. So it tells you a bunch of information about what columns are in the table, what type of data is stored in those, anything about lengths, so on and so forth. And we're not going to worry about indexes and triggers yet. We'll talk about those later. And then here are some constraints that are placed on the table. So that's what you're going to need to go through to actually get your table created. Once you do that, come back to my SQL worksheet. Now you can run queries to select the data. So now this website's acting a little slow. Not sure why that is. We'll see. I'm trying to stick with these cloud databases for now, just to make it easier on you so you don't have to install things on your computer and that type of thing. But we'll see. If this one doesn't work well, we'll abandon this one, go to another one as well. Okay, so I'm back to this SQL worksheet where I can write SQL. I don't need to run this stuff again. I've done that to create all the tables, so I'm going to go ahead and just say clear. And this is where you're going to come in and then now execute your statements on your homework. So you're going to do various things that say select certain things related to certain tables. So let's just write one example here. Let's select all of the customers whose, let's see, I'll just pick an example, whose zip code is 80309. So I'm going to write a select statement. This is going to be in the videos you're going to watch for this week, if you haven't already. I'm going to say select, and I'm going to select, what information do I want to get from the customer table? Let's say the customer name, address, and maybe the phone. Okay, I have to spell these exact. These have to be spelled exactly as they appear in the table. So if in the table it's called cust name, I got to type in cust name. If I type in something else like customer name and try to run this, it's going to say I don't recognize that column. You got to use the exact column names that were used when the table was created, and this happens to be the name. So I'm going to select those three columns, fields, and I'm going to select them from the customer table. And I'm going to say run. And there are my results. Okay, so we have 5 customers because that's all we inserted in the table, but you can see I'm only looking at the customer name, the address, and the phone for those 5 customers, football team, address, phone, that type of thing. And then I'm going to filter our results a little bit by using this where keyword that you're going to be learning about in your videos. And I said we only want to see the customers where the zip code is 80309. So right now we have 5 customers that we're looking at. Let's say where zip equals 80309. We'll run that. You see now we only have 4 because one of those customers did not have that particular zip code. And just to show you, I'm going to add one more column here. I'll actually show the zip codes for the rows I'm selected and click run. So now we can see that the zip codes are there. Only the zip codes that have 80309 are in that result. So we could do something like that. We could do something like and phone equals 685. Or no, let's do this. Learn about all this, so don't worry if you don't know it yet. I'm going to say 543. This little statement like this. I'm going to run this, and what that's doing is it's only getting phone numbers that start with 543. Let's try running that, and now I'm only seeing the customers that have this zip code and have a phone number that starts with 543. So you'll learn as you're watching the videos that saying like means we're going to basically select things where the phone is like some pattern. It's not exactly some number, but 543, blah, 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 blah. But it's like some pattern. And this little percent sign is a little wild card. So we're saying we're looking where the phone number is like 543 followed by something. So that's why these values appear there. So anyway, that is just an example of what you're going to be doing. So hopefully you have no problems because I've walked you through how to get this Oracle liveSQL set up and insert all of the data into the actual database, into the tables, and then you can see how you can come back here and run your queries. You can always click the clear button to clear out this little slate here and then type something in again and then click run. So that's what you're going to be doing for your homework. And make sure, again, you're going to be able to check your answers, but make sure you practice these, try them first, see if you can get them so that you actually know what you're doing so that when you come to the quiz and I ask you a similar type of problems, you'll know how to do it.